You don't need to go to Niagara Falls when you can eat some Brian balls.
So what's going on, NASCAR diecast collectors and diecast reviewers on YouTube? This is Original Big Bright here, and welcome back, guys, to another throwback diecast review. And today I am finally going to be doing something for anybody out here who is a NASCAR Authentics fan. This is something you guys have mostly been waiting for. If you guys probably know by the title, you guys already know what I'm doing, but decided to give you guys a little tease. But without further ado, I will be doing another mega diecast review on the 2017, or should I? Well, I'm doing this in 2017, but it's going to be the 2016 NASCAR diecast that we got from Lionel Racing NASCAR's Authentics line. And these were from some of the cars that we had from 2016, from 2016's Wave 9 and number 10, and also in 2017's Wave 1 and 2. I know this has been a pretty late review, but I decided this would be a very appropriate time to review all these cars. If you guys haven't saw part 1 of this video, I would highly recommend checking that out first. And excuse for the little dot that's on the bottom of my camera. I am going to get this fixed, so just bear with me on that. Hopefully it's not going to distract you with the diecast review. But anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at all these individually and go by wave, and I'll get my honest reviews on all these beautiful looking cars. And what better way to start off the Darlington Throwback Wave, part 2 of this Darlington Throwback Wave, than other than one of the underfunded guys in NASCAR, used to drive for BK Racing, but now is with Front Row Motorsports. But we're going to go back in time, since after all, this is a retro diecast review. David Ragan's 2016 I'm a Pepper, You're a Pepper, Dr. Pepper retro Darlington Throwback car, quote throwback. Well, it is a company throwback, which is really cool, to the famous soda Dr. Pepper, so really cool right there. There's a lot of cool features I like about this car, which we'll be talking about very shortly. I will have to briefly review every car in this review, though, because it is going to be it is a mega diecast review, so you guys know how that plan works. But yeah, really cool looking car we got right here. But before we look into this, guys, with every NASCAR Authentics car that we get in this wave, it comes with a cool literal, yeah, it is literal after all, collector card that comes with it. Really cool to see the diecast render and some nice throwback vibes to it. And then on the back, it gives you some information of what this throwback is to, and of course it is to the 1977 ad of Dr. Pepper, which of course is their famous slogan, "I'm a Pepper." But one really cool thing I like about this car, well, yeah, it is an underfunded car, don't get me wrong, and really glad that Lionel decided to produce this. But I love how the paint scheme is simple, but also you see a whole variety of Dr. Pepper logos right here. You can see, like, you know, all the branding that from Dr. Pepper throughout the whole decades since its existence. So that's really nice right there. I also like the retro font as well. Even the box has a retro font as well. I have the box currently far away from me. So, but if you guys have this car, I really do recommend picking this up. As you can see right there, you see the nice Toyota Camry mold. Looks really nice. Got the white Goodyear Eagles. You know, fairly nice looking car, and I'm glad we got more variety. I know we had some more underfunded guys like let's see, like the Tommy Baldwin, Regan Smith car. So glad I now decided to prove this. Decided to, yeah, they proved us yet again for picking up a really cool diecast, and I would recommend getting this car, especially the Shriners car, the Shriners Children's for Hospital car, which also came out very recently as well. I think it came out at Wave 11, actually. Alrighty, I just had to look at my NASCAR thanks while to look at that, but really nice looking throwback, and we're going to get on to his teammate. Did somebody say teammate? Yes, guys, we got both BK Racing cars in this Darlington Throwback Wave from Wave 9, which was really awesome. But we also got the other guy who is a little more underrated, but I think he is probably my favorite underfunded driver, Matt Dibenedetto, good old Dean Burrito, as everyone likes to call him. But this is a very nice, cool Orange Crush car, the Darlington Throwback car, which was a one-time sponsor scheme and one-time sponsor deal as well, because Orange Crush and Dr. Pepper, they are kind of associated with each other. I think 7-Up is as well, so that's really cool right there that they decided to put this on car and give Matt Dibenedetto a very unique sponsor. And there's a lot of other cool features I got to talk about this car, but before we do that, we're going to look at the little card that comes with it, because you guys know I love the little cards that NASCAR Authentics gives to us. It just gives us something to look at to collect with the diecast and see. There's your usual diecast render. It looks really cool, but of course the diecast is a lot more important. And you can see right there, it's mostly a throwback to the 1960s Orange Crush bottle beverage from Orange Crush. And I know one of my good friends, at Ganassi fan 142, he is a huge Denver Broncos fan. So this, if you're a Denver Broncos fan, for any NFL people out there, I would recommend getting this car. Or if you're, the favorite of Syracuse Orange or any kind of team that has blue and orange, this is a cool car to get, even though we're talking about NASCAR and not other sports. But I decided to throw it out there because this car really does brighten up the wave from last year. And you can see right there, you can probably just barely see it, but there's also blue colored rims, which also gives this car a cool uniqueness as well. I mean, if you can find this car or the Gold Series mold as well, the Gold Series version, which they sell at the not the retailers, that's at your diecast dealers, I would recommend getting this car. I think this car looks really nice with the David Ragan car, and I would recommend getting it. Plus, also, you got Matt Dibenedetto name, kind of like how they did it way back in then, back in the 70s and 80s and all those throwback decades. That's a nice little feature that I decided to put that right there, because you see right there, Matt Dibenedetto's name is not on the usual rail like it usually is. But overall, really nice car. I love the bright orange, and I would recommend getting it. What happens to be one of my favorite Darlington Throwbacks cars for the Ganassi field, especially for anybody out there who is a 90s kid like me, you will automatically know this car. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Mick Tonight car. It has returned, and it was driven by Jimmie McMurray at the 2016 Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. And man, when they announced this car, when they officially revealed it, oh man, it was so worth the wait, because McMurray didn't have a throwback scheme from 2015, so really glad that they really stepped their game up, especially Ganassi. They had a lot of cool throwbacks, I mean, especially with Kyle Larson's Middle Yellow, and then from 2015, which unfortunately got produced in die-cast form because of Coca-Cola. Gotta love that. But man, does this car look amazing. Easily one of my top 3 favorite John's throwback teams that we got. But we're also going to be looking at the card as well. Before we do that, as you can see right there, there is the diecast render. Looks beautiful as always. You got the good old Chip Ganassi Racing logo and Jimmie McMurray like always. And of course, everybody will know this car, especially if you're a 90s fan. But if you are not aware that this is the famous 1997 Bill Elliott Mick Tonight car, the McDonald's car, actually, that he drove. And like I said, 1997, he drove in it mostly at some night races during that season, which, I really wish McDonald's would do that again. I mean, as much as I love them still sponsoring NASCAR, I mean, they are a pretty big sponsor in NASCAR, especially for Chip Ganassi and Jimmie McMurray in general. But it was really cool seeing this car, especially since the Southern 500 is under lights. So another cool reason to like this car. Man, you can tell right there that Chip Ganassi Racing did an amazing job of replicating this paint scheme that awesome Bill from Dawsonville used to drive. Look at that, they even got the little crescent moon with the cool looking sunglasses, and he looks really looking quite I'm running out of words to describe this that moon, because this car is just hopefully it will not put you to sleep, but it is a really nice looking car, guys. I love this car. Like I said, especially if you grew up watching NASCAR in the late 90s. Oh man, I can't stress this enough. This is a car I would highly recommend getting. It's just one of those cars. I know many throwback schemes kind of pop, but this one really takes the cake. And man, just what a fantastic looking throwback this car was. And I thought the Johnson throwback schemes were great in Wave 10, but this one, including the Mick Tonight car, really, I think, takes the cake indeed. I know I said that with the McMurray car from earlier, but oh my god, lots of NASCAR fans will easily recognize this car. The Tide Ride scheme is back, and it is way better than ever. Now, before you Toyota here saying, oh, it's on a Toyota, well, screw that, guys. Just glad to see this car. I'm really glad that Lionel decided to put this car, because they screwed up the Gold Series car, which was on the if you don't know, guys, what I'm talking about, the boxes that I have on my background, those are the Gold Series cars, and you can only get those at diecast dealers. Well, Lionel, let's say they messed up the orange on this diecast, and they also put on the PTC molds, if you guys don't know what that is, but it's a lot thicker mold, and it's way more inaccurate. I did put that die cast as one of the worst die casts from 2016. But this right here is the holy grail, and I am so glad they put this in NASCAR Authentics. It was only a matter of time that this car was going to be saved. I'm glad they did. It's one true thing I love about NASCAR Authentics. They save canceled die casts and put in the waves, and then they also take die casts that they mess up, the coloring or whatever, or the mold, and they save it with this one, guys. Really impressed that Lionel made this car. But of course, we're going to look at the card that comes with it, like always, because after all, this is NASCAR Authentics review. You can see right there, the orange is not as bright on the render, but I'm glad they put it in the die cast. I guess that's where they did it. But you can see right there, it's a pretty rich and vibrant car that many drivers have driven this car before. I mean, most famously known, Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, Ricky Craven, just to name a few. Just so much iconic legends, especially Ricky Craven, especially with him and Kurt Busch from one of the greatest Darlington races that we've ever had. Actually, one of the greatest finishes we had in general, guys. So this car was only about to make an about for this car. Just I'll do another 360 view of this, man. Just I know this car is a little inaccurate because it does have the Tide Pods logos, but they did that because Tide Pods does have a choking hazard to children, because a lot of children are thinking that they are candy. So that's the reason why they did that. Well, that's just my assumption, but I'm sure that's the reason why they put pods on the car. Kind of the same thing, you got to regulate some die cast, especially when it comes to alcohol, energy drinks, and of course detergent size pods. But overall, really nice looking car. I strongly recommend getting this car, unlike the regular PTC mold version that we got from last year. I can't stress it enough. This die cast got saved, and it is better than ever. Really happy Lionel saved this diecast. Hey, would you look at that? A NASCAR diecast is doing a throwback to an IndyCar diecast. How about that? Wow, all the boys at Penske and Joey Logano and paying their respects to the good old Brian Herta. Oh, you don't know about Brian Herta? Well, let's see. He is the crew chief, the race-winning crew chief for Alexander Rossi in the 2016 Indy 500. And also, he was a former IndyCar Series driver as well, but he's also, with Alexander Rossi, he's also the winning crew chief for the 2011 Indy 500, driven with Dan Weldon. So how about that, guys? Well, anyways, back to this diecast, guys. I just had to point that out. But yes, this car is not only a throwback to Brian Herta for the Joey Logano Shell Pennzoil car, which I'm glad they made this year. Really cool. But it is supposed to be an original throwback to Tony Stewart's number 44 Shell car that he drove in the Busch Grand National Series, I believe. And also Bob Levante drove this car as well. I think he even drove in the 18 cars once, from what I know. I know that because I had some old diecasts of this car. But they're currently in storage. But man, what a cool looking diecast. However, though, I almost went out of order right there for a second. We'll be looking at the card. As you guys probably already know, I already gave you guys a little history lesson as I bumped my camera right there. I gotta love these rough diecast reviews that I do. But you can see right there, I love how they put NASCAR Xfinity Series, but come on. If you're gonna change history, don't change title sponsor. I know it is, the original car, but they should have put NASCAR Busch Grand National Series on there. I don't know if they really want to make this a cool throwback, but really cool. They pay tribute to Molly Levante, Tony Stewart, and Brian Herta. Really nice right there. I suggest if you're an IndyCar fan or a NASCAR fan, I would recommend getting this car. Especially this is the first time we had a Joey Logano throwback diecast produced, because if you guys remember his 2015 car, it was canceled, which was supposed to be a throwback to Mario Andretti's Grand Am car, I believe. So really nice right there. But I do like this car a lot. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the driver, but this throwback really looks nice. And I also do like how they're doing another IndyCar throwback car for this year as well. So I'm looking forward to review his 2017 car when that comes out very soon. But yeah, like I said, guys, if you're an IndyCar fan or a NASCAR fan, I highly recommend getting this car. As much as I don't want to compare those two, but man, this diecast really is giving me strong vibes from those three drivers. But very cool right there. Nice throwback. And you can see right here we got an Earnhardt diecast, but it is not a Wrangler car. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Just kidding, guys, but we do have another underfronted car in this wave, guys, from Go Fast Racing, the first diecast we got from them. So really strong selections right here from Lionel. I have to point that out again, guys, because when's the only time we're going to ever see a Go Fast Racing diecast or a BK Racing or Tommy Baldwin diecast? Well, they're out of business now, but except for Go Fast and BK Racing. But yeah, what a really interesting diecast. I mean, I love the paint scheme. Of course, many Earnhardt fans will recognize this paint scheme, or any NASCAR fan in general will recognize. You guys all know this is the Wrangler Throwback, even though it does not say Wrangler on it. But, you know, Jeffery Earnhardt is Earnhardt, but he is an underfunded car. But we'll get more to that history lesson very soon, as we'll be looking at the diecast card that comes with this. So really cool right there. You see the render, the outer pops, Corvette parts. Wow, I cannot talk today. I'm already this is what happens when you do diecast reviews late at night, guys. I'm already gonna have a lot of people commenting, oh wow, is Brian sober in this review? Yes, I am. I just you know, I worked a long hour shift today, and I'm probably wasn't the best idea doing this, but hopefully it is entertaining for you guys. But you can see right there, it is a you know, paying tribute to a good old NASCAR icon and one hell of a cool grandfather for Jeffery Earnhardt, which you guys probably already know. But this is paying a throwback to Dale Earnhardt's 1981 Wrangler scheme, which of course, you know, many Earnhardt Jr. diecast and many DEI cars have done this in the past, but it was really cool to do that. And of course, Lionel's quality, you can see I did got a little chip in the grill. I did got this on eBay because I couldn't find it in my stores. So this car was kind of a bummer to find, but same with the Matt Dibenedetto car, guys. I like the silver rims. But however, this car did actually go through some changes before, guys. If you guys saw my top 10 worst diecast from 2016, you guys will see the render that this car was actually supposed to have Kahne parts on the car, on the hood and on the sides, but they decided to change it and put Outer Pops logo, which kind of ruined it for me. I kind of wish it would just be all blue, then I wouldn't mind it. But just seeing how they did that, it looks like they did at the last minute, which I didn't really like. But I guess it was a last-minute sponsorship deal, or maybe Kahne Parts didn't want to sign onto the car anymore. But it's still a nice-looking car. And you can see right there that he is a rookie, so another cool reason to get this diecast, because he was a rookie. And if you guys collect rookie diecasts, I would highly recommend getting this car, for sure. Well, maybe I spoke too soon, guys. Maybe the Darn throwbacks are getting a little out of hand there and a little more crazy, because we got another Dale Earnhardt throwback, and it is possibly my favorite Jimmie Johnson throwback that we got. Way better than last year's 2015 car, which was also released in the NASCAR Authentics Wave. But really nice right here. You got the nice and bright blue and yellow from Dale Earnhardt and David Pearson, who drove this car. But I will be giving a history lesson about that very soon, as we'll be looking at the card that comes with this. Really nice right there. Like I said, probably one of my favorites, but this car is quite noticeable for any Earnhardt fans. And this little history lesson, if you guys do not know about the 1979 season, about Dale Earnhardt getting injured for a couple races, and David Pearson substituted for him. But of course, this ain't the number 2, because you guys know Keselowski drives the 2. But I like how they changed the font, and yeah, you know, for a Jimmie Johnson car, this is you know, not many sponsors on this car, which I kind of like. It gives it that simplicity look to it. Which I think a lot more diecast should, well, a lot more cars in general should have that. I mean, look at it. It doesn't have a sponsor on the deck lid, guys. Mostly just Lowe's as the main sponsor, and nothing else you can see on the panels, which, like I said, I like it. And also you got the white rims as well, which, you know, really makes it stand out. I like that a lot. And you even got the Lowe's logo, which looks, does not have the house surrounding it, so makes it even look, I mean, yeah, they really did a good job nailing this throwback to Dale Earnhardt's and David Pearson's 1979 car. Like I said, my favorite Jimmie Johnson car that we've ever got. I'm not a big fan of this year's Johnson car, and also from 2015. I still will have to say on this day, as your 2016 champion, which another cool reason I would get this car, because he did win the championship. Didn't win the race, but won the championship. In that year, so really cool right there. Would have been cool if he won the race, though. I mean, that'd probably be the only time I wouldn't mind if Jimmie Johnson won the throwback race. But hopefully we'll see a strong throwback scheme for next year in 2018. But overall, guys, I do recommend getting this car. It looks way better than 2015 and 2017. And yeah, guys, like I said, if you're an Earnhardt fan, this is another car I would recommend getting, along with the Jeffery Earnhardt diecast. And most of you guys thought I was going to review only Cup diecast. Well, Lionel proved me wrong, and we actually got not one, but two Xfinity diecast that were produced from this year from Wave 1. We actually had one from Wave 1, and then we had another from Wave 2. I had to correct myself right there, but you guys know what I mean. But this is Ryan Reed's number 16 Lilly Diabetes car. This is the first time we have a Ryan Reed car produced in the NASCAR Authentics Wave, and it might be the only time as well, because Ryan Reed, you know, besides winning the Xfinity Daytona race for two times now, 2015 and this year, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me right there. Couldn't breathe right there. But really nice right there. We got the Xfinity diecast produced. And this car was originally canceled as well, guys. I do got to point this out. This car was canceled. So this is the only way you can get this diecast. But before we do that, guys, we're going to look at the little card that comes with it. Not really little, because my camera's really close to it. But you guys know what I mean. This is another Roush Fenner Racing car. And I'm glad they decided to produce this. And they actually produced all the Roush Fenner Racing cars from last year in 164. Besides Greg Biffle, because you know Hooters, they only wanted to make a 124 exclusive, which was really ironic. But you see right there, this is another Allison tribute, but it's going to be to the NASCAR Hall of Famer, Bobby Allison. So really nice right there. It's always cool when we do throwbacks to not only Earnhardt and Petty, but also to the Allison brothers as well, because you know they were, you know, such iconic Hall of Famers for this sport. But yeah, really nice right there. I really like this, guys. This is a really nice looking Johnson throwback, even though it's not running the Southern 500. But it's kind of cool that the Xfinity series, and now even the Truck series is even running throwbacks, even though it's the Truck series doesn't run at Darlington. But I'm glad that they're doing throwbacks. I wish they could make more of these. I'm hoping Lionel would, you know, take my advice and many others, and hopefully they can get some more Xfinity diecast produced. But what I gotta think about this car, guys, I recommend getting it, guys. Like I said, this is a NASCAR exclusive diecast. I would recommend getting it because of that, because it was originally canceled, and this is the only way you could get this diecast, which is another good reason why I love NASCAR Authentics. But really nice looking throwback, especially for Bobby Allison, especially any guys out there who are Bobby Allison fans or any Roush Fenner Racing fans in general. Highly recommend getting this car. A good pickup. And we have another car released in 2017, which was a 2016 diecast, and it's also another canceled diecast that was canceled as well. I think only the 124 version was only made, but who can blame them, guys? But this is any kind of Terry Labonte fan out there will know this, as I just gave away that, so spoilers. Well, not really spoiler anymore, but this is Kasey Kahne's Johnson throwback car from 2016, and Terry Labonte's iconic ride that he drove in the somewhere around the 1980s, which we'll look at the card very soon. After all, I'm not a historian, I'm just a diecast reviewer. But yeah, very interesting diecast, especially if you're I know the maroon, it's mostly like a lighter maroon. It has a nice it's a little more vibrant in person. I mean, it looks a little dull on camera, but it still looks really nice, especially with the bright neon splitter, even though the paint's a little wonky on that. But anyways, we'll be looking at the card that comes with this, which, like I said, this is an exclusive diecast, so this is the only way you can get this. And this will be paying tribute to actually the Hendrick Motorsports' first champion, which was Terry Labonte, guys, which I believe he won the championship in 1984, if I'm not mistaken. I just read the card, that's why. I wanted to sound professional right there, but very unique diecast. I didn't think that they were going to make this. And one thing to notice, guys, this card does not have the American Ethanol logo. I don't know if that was intentional, or even the diecast render doesn't even have the American Ethanol logo. Huh, how about that? Now I gotta look at this diecast. Now I gotta look and see if this car actually has the American Ethanol logo on the real car. If it does, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, that was maybe a error that Lionel made. But other than that distraction, guys, I'll be looking at 360 view. Any Terry Labonte fans out there will recognize this car, and any Hendrick Motorsports fans as well. Because, like I said, this is, kind of a random throwback, but I get why Rick Hendrick decided to put this car along with all the other throwbacks for Hendrick Motorsports. Probably has to be my least favorite. I mean, I still like it, don't get me wrong. And a lot of people are like, oh, you actually don't like this car, but you like the Chase Elliott Throwback, which is not even a throwback. Yeah, because that car is a little more vibrant. This one, it looks a little dull, but I still like it though. Like I said, not really my favorite, but I'm glad Lionel produced it though. Even though I'm sure I wasn't the only one who thought this car was not that good looking, because I mean, but that's the beauty of retro diecast, guys. You gotta love it, and I do like it. It's not my favorite, but I do recommend getting it, especially since now Kasey Kahne will be leaving Hendrick Motorsports at the end of this year. This is a cool grab to get for this car. And last but not certainly least, we got the other Roush Fender racing car in the Xfinity Series program. Well, let's just say former Roush car, because he is, as we speak in this moment in late 2017, he is now out of a ride, unfortunately, because he has lacked sponsorship for Roush Fender Racing, which is very unfortunate, but it is none other than one of the young rookies and upcoming stars in NASCAR, well, hoping it's upcoming, Darrell Wallace Jr., also known as Bubba Wallace, and he is driving the iconic number 6 Ford Mustang for the Xfinity Series program. So really nice right here. This is going to be a Darlington throwback to Mark Martin's Folgers car that he drove a while back, which I'll give you guys the year pretty soon as we'll be looking at the card. But really cool that we decided to get the other Roush Fender Racing car to go with the other. So if you do guys get the Ryan Reed car, I recommend getting this car, and this was also released in Wave 2 along with the Kasey Kahne throwback. But we'll be looking at the card very soon, as we're looking at it actually right now. I just want to give you guys a little tease right there, but you can see yeah, another Mark Martin tribute, guys. Really cool. Kind of ironic that we had both number 6 cars from last year painted tribute to Mark Martin. After all, I mean, Mark Martin is mostly known driving the number 6. I mean, who can blame him? It's like Rusty Wallace driving the 2, Jimmie Johnson the 48, Jeff Gordon the 24. I mean, Mark Martin really owns that number, even if it's in the Xfinity Series. But you see right there that he, you know, Mark Martin, another Hall of Famer that we got to pay tribute to. You can see right there, there's the car. But during the early 1990s, guys, he drove this car. So if you're another 90s, early 90s NASCAR fan, so I'm sure David Land and Race Day 2011 automatically know what this car mostly is. But of course they couldn't get the Folgers sponsorship, but I'm really glad that Ford decided to even downright to the decal, guys. Really nice and retro, and it's trying to represent the coffee logo for Folgers. So something that this is one thing I really like about Darlington Throwbacks cars. You got these sponsors who you know, are really creative with the throwbacks, and this is something that I do like. And this car was originally canceled, but Lionel actually put it back and into the Gold Series cars. So this ain't exclusive, so you can get this in the Gold Series cars as well. But this is the first time we have a Bubba Wallace car produced, so that is a good reason why I would recommend getting this car. I like the uniqueness to it, and a lot of people are like, oh, it looks a little dull. I mean, yeah, the maroon, and well, it's more like a red. It does look a little similar to the Kasey Kahne car, guys. It does look a little darker on camera, but if you guys get to see this car in person, I would highly recommend getting this car, guys. Looks really nice, and it goes well with the other Xfinity car that we have. Just overall, good car to wrap up this review. Overall, guys, what do I think about these die-casts that we got from 2016? I would probably recommend getting a good majority of them. I do like the variety that we got. I mean, I know it wasn't in a huge big wave like we had in the Darlington Throwback wave, which had 15 cars. These were, you know, mostly selected in about like wave 9, and then I guess you could say wave 10 was mostly all Darlington Throwbacks, excluding some others. And we also had some for wave 1 and wave 2. But glad to finally bring you guys this, as hopefully you guys are watching the Southern 500 as we're speaking. So hopefully you guys are watching this during the commercials of that race. Hopefully we're going to see, and who knows, I mean, if I don't jinx it, maybe one of these guys are in victory lane for the Xfinity race or the Southern 500. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and that's going to wrap up the Throwback Diecast weekend. Tune in on Monday for the new episode of NASCAR Diecast News. I'm looking forward to give you guys my thoughts and opinions about that. But anyways, guys, this has been Original Big Bright. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys on the next NASCAR Authentics Diecast review.